Your next door neighbor plays loud music every single night. It causes disturbance. It really does. Can you stop your next door neighbor from playing loud music? If you can stop your neighbor, the real question is how? Mr. X is walking down a street. All of a sudden, he is hit by a car driven by Mr. Z. As a result, Mr. X suffers personal injury. Can Mr. X take Mr. Z to a court of law and claim compensation for the injuries he has suffered? Mr. A invites his best friend Mr. B for a dinner. While walking in Mr. A's house, Mr. B falls down because the floor is slippery. As a result, Mr. B suffers personal injury. Can Mr. B sue Mr. A and claim damages for the injuries he has suffered? Tort law answers these questions. Greetings, everyone. A very warm welcome to Dale Academy. My name is Mashood Hassan Azam Awan. I'm your instructor for the module of Tort Law. In this session, we shall examine the meaning of tort law and we shall discuss the types of interests that tort law seeks to protect. Frankly, I must concede that it is impossible to define tort law. This is because liability in tort law may arise for a wide range of conduct ranging from negligent behavior to damaging a person's reputation. Tort may take many forms. Tort, among others, includes negligence, defamation, assault, battery, and nuisance. Each tort has its own specific elements which must be established to sue a wrongdoer. By way of an example, negligence requires negligent behavior on part of the wrongdoer and proof of damage, while trespass requires intentional behavior or reckless behavior on part of the wrongdoer, but does not require proof of damage. Thus, it seems impossible to come up with a comprehensive definition of tort law that encompasses all forms of tort. This is because each tort has its own peculiar characteristics. We may, however, look at the meaning of tort law. Tort is a Norman French word for harm or wrong. Thus, tort law is law of civil wrongs. Tort law is concerned with the action, inaction, or conduct which is legally wrong. Tort law entitles a victim to a remedy. Basically, tort law determines who shall bear the loss suffered by a victim as a result of action, inaction, or conduct of a wrongdoer. In other words, tort law consists of rules of liability which dictate whether the conduct, action, or inaction of an individual constitutes a civil wrong. If the action, inaction, or conduct of an individual constitutes a civil wrong, then what remedy is available to a victim? Let us examine the example that I mentioned at the beginning of this session. Mr. X is walking down a street. All of a sudden, he is hit by a car. The said car is driven by Mr. Z. Resultantly, Mr. X suffers personal injury. Now, here, tort law determines who shall bear the loss suffered by Mr. X. If Mr. Z is not responsible, then Mr. X suffers the loss. If Mr. Z is responsible, then Mr. Z or maybe his insurance company shall bear the loss suffered by Mr. X. We just examined the meaning of tort law. Now we shall discuss the types of interests that tort law seeks to protect. Tort law protects your personal safety, economic interests, interest in property, and your interest in reputation. The torts that protect your personal safety include negligence and trespass to the person. Torts that protect your interests in property include trespass to the land and the rule of Ryland versus Fletcher. Your interests in reputation are protected by defamation actions of libel and slander. In this session, we discussed the meaning of tort law, and we also discussed the types of interests that tort law seeks to protect. Throughout this module, we shall study and examine the types of interests that tort law seeks to protect, how these interests are protected, and the very important question, why are these interests protected under the framework of tort law? Thank you very much.